Thank you. Thank you so much. And at this time, we're going to hear from who I've been waiting to listen to talk all morning. I've told this man that I could sit at his feet for hours and listen to him talk because I was on the PSRS board. We shared our first meeting on that board, and I love to listen to him. My son now has econ this semester at MU, and I said, you don't understand something, you might call Steve Yoakum. He's right there. Let's welcome Steve Yoakum. And I say thank you for his patience. Thank you.
No, thank you. And I want to assure you, you don't have to sit for 2 hours and hear anything I've got to say. I want to share a couple of things with you today very quickly and get you back on schedule, hopefully. But I was reminded as Veronica was talking about that day in the Capitol last year, yeah, Jim and I were vilified to a certain extent, but that's part of the job. And I told Jim at the time, you could tell a lot about a person by the quality of their enemies. So generally speaking, I think we're pretty happy to have the enemies we have because it tells us that we're doing our job. We're out there protecting you and protecting the system and the stability of the system. And if that's part of the job, that's just part of the job. That's what we take it for. I want to talk about a few things very briefly with you. First of all, let's talk about the stability of the retirement system because that's probably the most important thing that I can share with you today. I want to paraphrase another famous Missourian, Mark Twain, because I would say that the reports of our death are greatly exaggerated. If you read the papers, and I know many of you do, and you keep up with the news, you would think that public retirement systems are about to bankrupt our country, that public pensions are the root of the problem in this country. They're wrong. That's absolutely incorrect. You would also conclude that most pension plans are about to go broke. They're not going to be able to pay their bills. They're not going to be able to honor their obligations. I can't speak for all the systems in the country, but I can speak for ours. We're in good shape. We've been in good shape. We're going to continue in good shape. Last year, we finished 86% pre-funded, one of the highest funded ratios in the country. Now, that came about, and why is that important? Let me give you a little history and a little background, first of all. We're talking about numbers of people. We're responsible for 260,000 Missourians, active, retired, inactive, PSRS and peers, and their families. And in many of those cases, the PSRS benefit, because our members are not covered by Social Security, we are their primary source of retirement income. We take that very, very seriously. Last year, we paid about $2 billion in benefits, and of that $2 billion in benefits, $1.8 billion of it stayed right here in the state of Missouri. But we take that responsibility very, very seriously. I would also point out that during the recession of 08-09, the Great Recession, we didn't miss a payment. We didn't lay anybody off. We continued to send that money every month to the people who had earned it. And that's our job. That's what we do. And when people want to challenge that, as we've had in the legislature, we're going to continue to fight back and push back when those things happen. We got a great story to tell, and Jim and I have been trying to tell that story. And we're going to make enemies when we do it, but that's quite all right because you can tell a lot about a person. So where are we today? Well, I said last year we finished 86% pre-funded. It was a difficult investment year. We were up 1.9%. Fiscal year ended June 30. 1.9%. As you know, we assume an 8% return. But that beat 2/3 of the pension funds in America. It's a very difficult environment we find ourselves in. That funded ratio, as we get the final information back from the actuary in the coming month, will probably decline 1 or 2 percentage points. We may drop down to 82, 83, maybe 84% funded. Still a very, very strong position. And the most important thing I can tell you is, unlike the teachers in Illinois, unlike the teachers in some of the other states, we're not concerned about sending those checks out to the people who've earned them. We have the money. We're in good shape. The challenge that we have is to make sure that this retirement system stays as viable for the next generation of educators as it has for your generation. And we're going to do that. We remind ourselves often that because of the structure of PSRS as a not-for-profit trust fund. The only purpose that this retirement system has is to help our school districts attract and retain the best quality people they can to teach our kids, and then to make sure that the promises they've made to you and those people who have taught our kids is honored. And we intend to continue to do that. There are two challenges, however, that I do want to share with you as we go forward, and we don't take them lightly. The first one is an economic challenge. The economic challenge, I think many of you know, this is a very difficult environment to be an investor. The Treasury bills, 10-year Treasury bills, has now dipped below 2% returns. The problems with the euro in Europe, the problems in Asia are multifold, and the economies in this country and the world are very challenging. However, we have the luxury of being 86% funded, having $30 billion, and having the ability to take a longer-term perspective. Yes, we've gone through difficult periods before, and we'll go through them again, but we'll come back out on the backside. So as we manage the fund, one of the things that we do, while there are unknowns in the economy and challenges, we take a very conservative approach to the investment world. We try to attract and retain the best talent that we can in order to invest those assets for you and do it as cheaply as we possibly can, and we've been successful in doing that. So I think we will again, but I will caution you, as we continue to watch the economy, I think we're going to go through a very difficult period over the next few years. But we've seen difficult periods before. And I would say that the U.S. economy is the most vibrant economy the world has ever seen. We've gone through some difficult challenges. I think we will come through it as well. The word comes up oftentimes when we talk to legislators about sustainability. I've been actually accused that directly one of the words I think is coming from Alex, as a matter of fact, is retirement systems are not sustainable. I have gone head-to-head with people and said, no, I would disagree with you. Not only are they sustainable, they're very needed. And I've gone through with great detail from a financial standpoint that we are sustainable, that the system is in good shape, and please do not compare us to those like Illinois who did not pay their bills, did not invest it well, and now those teachers are worried about it. Don't compare Missouri to Illinois and lump us all in that same boat. So the economic challenge is real. The second challenge is one that I'm going to turn to you on. The second challenge we have is a political challenge, and a political challenge in terms of both Washington, D.C. and in Jefferson City. The political climate in this country has shifted very much against public employees and public education, and one of the byproducts of that is an attack on defined benefit pension plans. And I think it's a travesty, very honestly. In 1946, when this system was created, the teachers of Missouri got together because they did not have Social Security, and they created a plan to create stability for them in their later years. And it has worked very, very well for literally hundreds of thousands of educators over the intervening 6 decades. We're going to continue to see those pressures. Those pressures happen in Washington. They're happening with things like mandatory Social Security coverage. Our teachers made a great decision back in the 1950s to help stabilize their plan and improve their plan and vote themselves to not participate in Social Security. Now there's only 6% of the population who do not. Most of them are teachers, policemen, and firemen. And one of the discussions that's going on right now in Washington is to perhaps include new teachers, policemen, and firemen in Social Security. I would urge you to watch and listen to that debate because I think it will happen. It will not happen prior to the election because no one wants to talk about Social Security leading into an election. But it will happen in 2013. And I would urge you to all pay very close attention because mandatory coverage could have a negative effect on your retirement system if we take those newly hired teachers out of our plan and put them somewhere else. So I would urge you to listen to that debate. Here in Jefferson City, the debate continues on defined benefit versus defined contribution plans. Defined contribution plans like 401ks. What's happened, and we've seen a generation, of my generation, that are starting to feel the effect of this, and you're going to see more and more of this. 34 years ago, when I got in this business, about 65% of the private sector workforce in America had a defined benefit pension plan like yours. Today, it's about 13%. Corporations have terminated pension plans, shifted over to 401ks, and basically said, here's some money, I hope you invest it well, and if you don't, I'm sorry. And in essence, that's what's happened. We now have 77 million baby boomers headed to retirement, and many of those baby boomers do not have a pension plan in order to provide for them. What's happening is many of them are staying on the job much longer than they ever intended to, and it's creating a huge amount of intergenerational conflict that will only get worse over the next few years as these people head into retirement and they've not done what you have done. Set money aside, invested it wisely, and have a pension benefit that's going to be payable for your lifetime. What's happening here in Jefferson City. We did not have it this year, but we had it in the 2 previous years, was to take newly hired teachers out of PSRS and put them into a defined contribution plan instead. I argued against it for a couple of reasons. One, I don't think it's fair. And 2, I don't think it helps us attract and retain the best people we can to teach our kids. I think the political winds will continue to blow, and they will not blow necessarily favorably to us for some time. I'm certainly concerned about that. If I look at where we found ourselves the last few years, and I'm going to mention the name that I usually don't say, but Senator Crowell. Senator Crowell wanted to consolidate the assets, basically take control of your pension fund away and create a state investment board and move over to that state investment board to control those assets. Thanks to Jim Kreider, thanks to you all, thanks to people of that 260,000 members we talked about got involved and explained to them that perhaps this is not a real good idea. And it worked. It worked. And it worked primarily because of the leadership of Jim and MRTA, who took the lead in explaining that. So Veronica is not just 60,000 retirees, but it's 260,000 people and their families who owe you all a debt of thanks. So, good job. Now, I'd like to tell you, job's well done. Let's go to Branson and have a big time. But it's not. And having done this for 34 years, there will always be another Senator Crowell. There will always be someone else who is looking longingly at that $30 billion in your trust fund that they cannot get their hands on. I would urge you to stay involved. As Jim said, show up, be counted, and be a member, because you're going to need that. You're going to need it more in the future than we've needed it in the past. So the best thing I can do is tell you thank you for what you've done in the past. Congratulations on your mortgage, which is a huge, huge thing. I can't wait. I'm going to burn mine in just a couple of years, and I'm really looking forward to it. But it's a great undertaking, and stay involved, because if you don't, Jim is exactly right. The world is run by those people that show up. You showed up. Thank you.